Tonight, new councillor appointed.
I didn't believe it. I was like, there's no way. No, I'm very humbled to be able to serve my community.
Who regional councillors have chosen from dozens of candidates to fill a vacant seat. Rebuilding roundabouts.
Because there's too much traffic, there's always an accident here.
The work underway to help pedestrians cross more safely.
Sometimes there's been hit and runs at this intersection.
At some notorious intersections. Hoping to keep a tradition afloat.
We were concerned that our festival won't be happening.
The scramble to save a festival in Stratford from a natural problem.
Good evening. We begin with some developing news we are watching tonight as Air Canada begins shutting down in advance of a flight attendants' strike. Talks have hit an impasse, and the airline has begun a gradual suspension of flights. They're planning to ground all planes by early Saturday morning. CTV's Sean Leathong has the latest from Pearson Airport.
Storming in on their employer, about 24 Air Canada flight attendants picket inside a news conference that was organized by the airline.
We want to be seen, we want to be heard, we want to be valued for the work that we do.
Members stand holding signs accusing Air Canada of forcing unpaid work. This as the airline begins canceling flights, winding down operations towards a total shutdown.
It's simply not the kind of system that we can start or stop at the push of a button.
At the start of the day, Air Canada leadership outlined what the shutdown would look like. It includes several dozen cancellations Thursday, around 500 cancellations on Friday, with all flights grounded by Saturday, if a deal is not reached in time. The first cancellations to be mostly international long-haul flights set to take off Thursday night. At Pearson Airport in Toronto, an information desk has been set up to help travelers who are concerned.
I'm concerned about getting back from my destination. That's about it.
I'm hoping it'll be very short-lived and resolved really quickly. If not, I guess we're finding another ride home.
The airline saying all canceled flights will be offered a refund as they try to rebook for those who are stranded, but seats are limited.
And it looks like we're going to have to pay out of pocket probably about $900 for a new flight.
We are extremely disappointed by CUPE's decision, which threatens to disrupt the travel plans of more than 130,000 customers a day.
The airline saying their latest offer, a 38% raise including benefits, that would make Air Canada the best compensated flight attendants in the country.
One of the lowest rates.
Bargaining team member Natasha Steya says the airline isn't being truthful.
We are not the highest paid, and with the increase that they're proposing, we still would not be the highest paid.
As both sides argue over compensation and what the union is calling unpaid work, at this point, there's little either side can agree on.
We have been at the table, sitting and waiting. We've been talking with the conciliators. We've been there. But the employer, they left.
We never left the table. We are engaged throughout the entire process.
Air Canada has asked the federal government to step in and force mediation, with Federal Labour Minister Patty Hajdu saying the government is available, but I urge both parties to put their differences aside, come back to the bargaining table, and get this done now for the many travelers who are counting on you. Labour Minister Patty Hajdu saying that the union requested until 12 p.m. on Friday to decide whether they want to enter binding arbitration. She has granted that request. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
And so the question is, what if you are an Air Canada ticket holder trying to decide what to do ahead of those potential flight cancellations? Coming up a little later in our show, CTV's Adrian Gobriel takes a closer look at your options and your rights. Okay, from travel in the air to travel on the ground now. And love them or hate them, roundabouts are here to stay on Waterloo Region's roads. Tonight, though, 3 of them are being reworked to try to help pedestrians cross through them more safely. CTV's Colton Weeds is standing by at one of them in Waterloo. Actually, it's at Herb and Ira Needles, to be specific. Colton, construction actually well underway on that one.
Yeah, that's right, Tony. It is. Work got underway on this roundabout this week, and traffic is a little bit slowed down because some of the roundabout has been closed throughout the day, and they've been opening and closing different portions. But at the end of all of this, the crosswalks are going to have flashing lights, and they're going to be raised. And pedestrians I spoke to say they're looking forward to it.
A
A Region of Waterloo pilot program officially underway, aimed at protecting people crossing busy traffic circles, whether they're on foot or on a bicycle. New safety measures are being installed at select roundabouts in Cambridge, Kitchener, and Waterloo. Button-activated flashing lights and raised crosswalks are going in at Herb Street West and Ira Needles Boulevard in Waterloo. Construction started this week and is expected to wrap up on September 12th.
I feel it's pretty safe, but just that some other people, it's like they don't know how to use these roundabouts, and it's like it's very dangerous at times because sometimes there's been hit and runs at this intersection.
New button-activated flashing lights are being installed at the roundabout at Franklin Boulevard and Bishop Street North in Cambridge. That work started this week and should be finished by August 29th. Meanwhile, raised crosswalks are being installed at Homer Watson Boulevard and Blockline Road in Kitchener. That work started last month and should end in September.
I think it's more safer because they're driving slowly, so it's better for me, especially because I'm pregnant and I have a little boy with me all the time, so it's better because the traffic is slow.
Despite some of the crosswalks being blocked or closed at some of the roundabouts, there are other crosswalks that are still open, allowing pedestrians to get across. And the pedestrians I spoke to say it's worth the hassle to make things safer.
I think it would make it a lot safer because with the flashing lights, drivers be able to see the pedestrians crossing.
I will feel safer because every day I just live across the road. If I just cross daily 3 to 4 times, then it will be safer for me.
The 3 locations were chosen based on pedestrian volumes, collision history, the presence of multiple lanes, and geographic distribution. Traffic is down to 1 lane during construction, and while some pedestrians have still used the closed crosswalks, the region says pedestrians are urged to follow the signage. Now, a survey will be launched sometime next month where residents can make comments on whether they think it works. Tony.
Okay, CTV's Colton Weens live in Waterloo with those details. Colton, thank you for that. After 4 hours of pitches and 3 rounds of voting, the Region of Waterloo has a new councillor. Joe Gowing was appointed from a pool of 44 candidates who had put their names forward to fill the seat left vacant after the death of Carrie Williams. CTV's Ashley Bacon now on today's selection process.
So, colleagues, I'd like to thank Council and congratulate Joseph Gowing as our new regional colleague.
Joe Gowing has been appointed to fill the vacant seat on Region of Waterloo's council, beating 43 other candidates vying for the position.
I didn't believe it. I was like, there's no way. No, I'm very humbled to be able to serve my community.
With tough competition for the job, each candidate took to the podium for 5 minutes to plead their case.
It was a little gut-wrenching at times when it's like, oh, they might beat me. They're better than me. But I'm looking forward, and I hope they reach out to me because a lot of them are right. We need to have a collaboration. There was 44 of us here today that have great ideas, and those are things that we need to bring to council and work together.
It took 3 rounds of voting, but in the end, Gowing received the 8 votes needed to secure the seat.
He's had great involvement, but he does get what deciding regional issues means because it impacts every decision we make, impacts the residents in every corner of the region. And Joe really demonstrated to me that he understands that that's part of the decision-making paradigm when you sit around this horseshoe.
The regional council seat representing Kitchener became vacant after the death of Councillor Carrie Williams in April. Her legacy was top of mind for many of the candidates.
When I considered this opportunity, I spent time researching and reflecting on Councillor Williams' vision for the seat. While we're not the same person, I wanted to ensure that we were aligned. I
knew her through this and through politics, but from what I understand, she was a great person, great neighborhood person, and great councillor. So big shoes to fill for sure, yeah, and I'm going to do my best.
Gowing plans to use the remaining 15 months in this term to try and make an impact on the community.
My background's in finance, so I'm hoping to help out on the housing side and the budget side of things. But just being involved in the community, helping us get to where we need to be and continue to grow at a pace that we can handle.
Gowing's first official council meeting is set to take place on August 27th. Ashley Bacon, CTV News, Kitchener.
Time now for a first check on the weather. Let's head over to Alex Pinto right here in studio with all the latest. I was trying to think of a way to set up the weather today, and I couldn't come up with anything. Maybe that's a good thing. There was nothing too remarkable.
No, a little bit uneventful overall compared to, the heat warnings that we saw and even just dealing with a bit of that smog. But overall, pretty sunny. We're seeing a little bit of cloud cover out there this hour, but it is still hot, not feeling that extreme humidity. So nice to get a little bit of a break for that. Looking at our satellite and radar map, not too much to see here. Earlier in the day, you may have noticed maybe some fog patches, especially if you maybe were driving to work around 5 or 6 o'clock this morning. You may have noticed it being a little bit more thick out there. 26 it is right here now in Kitchener-Waterloo, 27 in London, 23, so slightly cooler by the water if you are in Goderich. And yes, with that humidex, it is feeling a little bit warmer, feeling more like 30 here in KW and London, also feeling like 30 in the city of Hamilton this hour. So again, not that extreme humidity, but we're still feeling that heat out there. And yeah, as we look ahead to the weekend, tomorrow, more sunshine in store, but we potentially could see a little bit of wet weather roll in. So we're going to take a closer look at that and more a little bit later, Tony.
Okay, thank you, Alex. And there's actually some good news to share today about those wildfires that have been happening in the Kawartha Lakes area north of Peterborough. Crews say they are making good progress in the fight against them. They've classified one of them now as held, and that means they don't expect that one to spread any further based on current and forecast conditions. A second larger fire is still considered out of control, but at this point, it is not considered a threat to the city of Kawartha Lakes. An update now on a shooting in Kitchener from yesterday. 2 men are now facing charges. Police were called to the Victoria Motel on Victoria Street North at around 11:30 in the morning after getting reports of gunshots. Officers spotted 2 people trying to run away. Both of them were arrested. One was found with a loaded handgun. A 25-year-old and a 27-year-old, both from Kitchener, are now facing a slew of charges, including assault with a weapon, aggravated assault, and firearms offenses. Both were held in custody for bail hearings. Police say the victim was taken to hospital with a gunshot wound that is considered non-life-threatening. Well, Premier Doug Ford spoke today about a crash that killed a father of 3 earlier this month. The driver charged in that collision is also accused of being behind the wheel in a crash involving Ford's own vehicle back in January. And as CTV's John Woodward tells us tonight, the Premier didn't mince words when he was discussing the case.
Just frustrating. Heart-aching.
Ontario's Premier responding to questions from CTV News about a deadly crash that claimed the life of Andrew Cristillo and seriously injured his 3 daughters earlier this month.
I talked to his father, and it's just heart-wrenching. You think of 3 young girls, his wife that has cancer. Everyone has to pitch in and help this family. It's terrible.
The Premier with a personal connection. The same driver charged with dangerous driving causing death in that case, 18-year-old Jaywin Kirubananthan, is also charged with dangerous driving in a crash with the Premier's motorcade in January on Highway 401 in Pickering, just east of Toronto.
Do you worry that could have been you?
Well, it could have, like 3-4 inches more. He hit me right on my door, going over 200 kilometers an hour. We didn't even know it hit us. We were just driving straight. And he swooped across 3 lanes from an on-ramp, just reckless, careless, stunt driving. And yeah, we were lucky, literally by inches.
The case launched an outpouring of support for Cristillo's family, the kids in hospital. Compounding the tragedy, their mom, Christina, was already fighting advanced breast cancer. An online fundraiser to provide for the girls has raised more than $425,000 so far.
Kirubananthan didn't face any driving restrictions pending his trial for what happened here on the 401. The reason is he was given a summons by police and not arrested and subjected to a bail hearing. Lawyers say that's very common.
The case prompting questions about whether more can be done to restrict drivers charged with dangerous acts. The Premier said he would look into it, but didn't want to say too much.
I better stop because I don't want any problems when he goes to court.
Kiru Bananthan is considered innocent unless proven guilty. He's in custody now. A decision on whether to grant him bail will be made on Friday. John Woodward, CTV News.
A Stratford staple is just about a month away now. The annual Dragon Boat Festival brings athletes and spectators, but this year, low water levels on the Avon River after a draining last month to clear storm debris are throwing a wrench into festival planning. CTV's Karis Mapp was in Stratford earlier today to look into this some more. Karis, organizers are looking at some backup plans to keep boats in the water somehow and somewhere.
That's right, Tony. To avoid canceling the festival altogether, organizers are looking at either moving it to a neighboring conservation area or pumping water from a nearby gravel pit into the river. Water levels in Stratford's Avon River are slowly but surely rising. It was significantly lower the last few weeks after the gate at the Ore Dam was blocked by debris. With Stratford's Dragon Boat Festival a month away, racers like David Stock are eager to be back on the water.
We were the reigning champs. The Ritz Dragons happened to take away our Community Cup last year. We held it for 10 years in a row, and that's the fastest Stratford team.
Tuesday's rain increased the water by roughly 29 millimeters, but it remains about a meter lower than the typical summer levels of 2 to 3 meters.
We were concerned that our festival won't be happening. And after 29 years of having a festival here, it's kind of scary not to have a festival in your hometown. I honestly think that we're going to get to where we need to be. We're still a month away. And I believe that there's probably enough rain.
Organizers not as optimistic and looking at backup plans.
The contingency plan is to go to another UTRCA park, which is the Wildwood Conservation Authority, which is about 16 kilometers south of Stratford near St. Mary's.
Wildwood authorities are on board with the potential change, but racers and organizers still hope to keep the staple in Stratford.
Stratford's got a venue that's so intimate, and you're there like you can see the theater when you leave port. We have an island that the boats are docked at.
The third option includes pumping water from this nearby gravel pit into the Avon River 24 hours a day for 2 weeks straight.
The idea is to take water out of that pit and put it into the river, which is just behind the camera. And the way we would do it is to place a pump here, and then that pump with hoses would push the water into the river. They'll probably have to clear the grass to make room for the pipe and some brush in this area, and so the concern is wash out at the point where we've discharged it into the river. But what we have here, believe it or not, the Avon River is connected by 2 culverts. So the plan's to put a pipe into a culvert on this side, and then we have the length of the culvert to take that discharge load.
The water would travel roughly 3 kilometers to make it to the heart of downtown Stratford. Robert Ritz says this plan has approval from the Ministry of Natural Resources, but still needs a green light from the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks. As they await a decision on the location of this year's festival, racers are praying for precipitation.
I would prefer that Mother Nature would rain, save the water in the gravel pit, and it comes back up and we get our festival back.
Organizers say they don't believe canceling the festival is a call they'll have to make, but are continuing to explore all the options before the races begin on September 13th. Tony.
Okay, CTV's Karis Mapp with the situation in Stratford. Karis, thank you for that. And a reminder to start your day by staying connected with us through the CTV Kitchener newsletter, local content from our news team, right to your inbox. We've got a look at the day's top stories, the latest forecast, and must-see videos. You can sign up over on our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. A new space to try to speed things up in a busy ER. Coming up, CTV's Alexandra Hollick tells us what's changing in Brantford's hospital to try to keep up with a surge in demand for care.
A bit of cloud cover this hour. Sunshine, though, in the forecast for tomorrow. We'll let you know how warm it could get. Plus, we could see a little bit of that active weather potentially roll in. That's coming up in your full forecast.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvkitchener.ca, your home for news.
Brantford's hospital is trying something new in its emergency department. They've opened a new space hoping to streamline patient care and to get people who are in less serious situations in and out more quickly. CTV's Alexandra Hollick shows us what's behind the curtain and how this is one part of a bigger effort to meet high demand.
After more than a year of construction, the Anderson Ambulatory Assessment Area Zone 7 is officially open.
This space is our lower acuity zone, so it's a zone that's dedicated to seeing probably about 50% of our daily patient volumes.
The goal is to see as many patients as possible, as efficiently as possible.
There's more spaces for them to come, get assessed by a nurse, by a physician assistant, and then also still have a place to receive care that is comfortable.
The 2,200 square foot space includes 6 private treatment rooms, a minor procedures room, modern medical equipment, and new waiting areas, all curated to meet the needs of patients and Brantford General Hospital's growing demand.
As more and more people move into our community, as more and more people are still struggling to find family physicians, an emergency department is often a place that people turn to when they need care.
The new assessment area is the latest phase in the hospital's emergency department renovation improvement project.
We're moving on to construction for some extended stay rooms, some ER mental health rooms, and then the other phase is to redo the waiting room and the triage rooms as well.
The total cost of the project is $32.4 million. While majority is covered by the province, the hospital is responsible for 10%, along with furniture and equipment.
The foundation had a campaign to raise approximately $8 million, which they've done successfully.
But as the hospital grows, so does the community.
More is needed to be done, and that's why we've been doing all the work and advocacy in the background to work towards the new hospital development as well.
The Brant Community Healthcare System says the entire project is expected to be completed by early 2027. Alexandra Hollick, CTV News, Brantford.
Anyone who's had kidney stones knows the pain can be intense, and treatment is often neither quick nor painless. Researchers at the University of Waterloo are developing a new minimally invasive procedure that could change that. CTV's Spencer Turcott finds out how.
They're pretty big. These are real kidney stones that were either passed or removed from a patient. And you can imagine, however they got out, it didn't feel great.
A lot of the therapies involve oral medication, so people go on oral medication, have to take pills maybe a couple times a day for several months.
That's not always effective or efficient. Surgery is another route.
So when it gets really acute and the stones are, for example, blocking the ureter, then the surgeons will have to go in and remove those stones.
A lot of times, once people get kidney stones, they're more susceptible to getting them again. So this team of University of Waterloo researchers were approached by a urologist in Barcelona hoping to get patients relief in a less invasive way.
He said, hey, you guys are doing these wireless microbots. Is there maybe a way that you could locally trigger the dissolution of stones by bringing medication or bringing a reaction close to the stones in the urinary tract, causing the dissolution and then thereby avoiding long time medication or even surgery.
An obscure request, right? Not really. The answer from the UW researchers was yes, there is a way.
We set up a rotating magnetic field using a permanent magnet, which is attached to a DC motor. We control the position of the magnet using a robot arm. When I move the tube, it will move with it.
The microbots are made up of thin spaghetti-like strips fitted with magnets, which are moved into place near uric acid kidney stones with the robotic arm. The soft strips contain an enzyme called urease, and once in place, it reduces the acidity of the surrounding urine, which then dissolves the stones until they are small enough to pass naturally in a few days.
So this is definitely the first of its kind for kidney stones.
The medical breakthrough is extra special for Alfarine, who was a master's student when she worked on the project because she suffers from kidney stones.
And the first time that I saw the robots move was one of the best days of my life, I would say.
The technology is still in the testing phase and needs more work before moving on to human clinical trials. Still, no small feat for a very small robot. Spencer Turcott, CTV News, Waterloo.
All right, a live look outside now from Waterloo as we have a little bit of a hazy evening, but I think we're going to see a decent sunset tonight. At least it looks like we might. Alex will confirm that coming up a little bit later in the forecast and give us an early check on what's expected for the weekend. Also ahead, a new move aiming to save lives at a popular southwestern Ontario beach. And next, setting up the Alaska Summit. A key meeting tomorrow between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin about the war in Ukraine. Alex is here with our forecast, and no, before you ask, we did not plan this.
This is twice now.
It's just
twice.
We both felt like wearing green jackets today.
A green Thursday.
It's a green Thursday, but I feel like it's the right kind of energy. We really need things to be a little greener out there. We've had a lot of dry conditions lately. People don't want to see a lot of rain as we head toward the end of summer, but we do need some in the forecast because of those conditions right across Ontario.
Yeah, this green is what we need our lawns to look like you said, and maybe our plants too. But yeah, I mean, a beautiful day out there too. We got a little bit of cloud cover out there this hour, but you noted too, a bit hazy out there. And I noticed early this morning too, around 6:30 or so, I was on the road heading out somewhere, and it was foggy still.
It was kind of felt like it was coming and going during the day, but I feel like with this view, we are not guaranteed a 100% crystal clear sunset tonight.
Oh, yeah, definitely not. Still feeling a little hazy as we take a live look from Erb Street and Ira Needles Boulevard in the city of Waterloo. We are starting to see a little bit more cloud cover roll in as well. The good news, though, for your Friday, that sun is expected to pretty much be around for most of the day before we could potentially see a little bit of wet weather in the forecast, so we're going to keep an eye on what that looks like. But yes, getting into the rest of your evening and even into the rest of the overnight, we could see a bit more cloud cover develop on and off overnight. So 12 a.m. or so should be mainly clear for many of us. If you're in Kitchener, Waterloo, Brantford, Hamilton, if you're going to be a little bit further north of Mount Forest, you could see a little bit more cloud buildup there. Friday morning around 10, looking pretty clear for many of us right across southern and southwestern Ontario, and a couple scattered showers. It looks like just south of Sarnia is expected as well, but overall looking pretty good for your Friday. In terms of Saturday, this is where we could potentially see a chance for a little bit of wet weather. For Waterloo Region, we're seeing about a 40% chance for some wet weather at this point. Sarnia, Chatham, Kent, Windsor, even some areas near Port Stanley, you could potentially see a little bit more wet weather headed your way. Risk of a thunderstorm as well, so something to keep an eye on there. So right now 26 degrees, so we've dropped a degree here in Kitchener, Waterloo, 24 in Sarnia, 27 it is right now if you are in Ridgetown. And with the Humidex, it is feeling more like 30 in KW, 32 in Toronto, 30 in Peterborough. So we're still feeling a little bit of that humidity, but not that extreme humidity that we saw earlier in the weekend from over the weekend too. So 28 degrees high for today, so just above normal for this time. Our record high was 37.2. That was set back in 1918. And on this day in 1950, we saw an overnight record low of 5 degrees. And that sun now setting 8:27 p.m. So we are officially away from the 8:30 mark as we get closer to 8 o'clock hour. Overnight 15 degrees, partly cloudy conditions. Again, this is when we could see some fog patches start to develop as we get into the overnight and even into your early morning hours. And then tomorrow with the humidity feeling more like 34, but sunny conditions are expected. And a note that UV index is going to be quite high, sitting at about an 8. So if you do have any outdoor plans, you want to try to find some shade or air conditioning wherever you can. Of course, we want to stay hydrated, lather up that sunscreen, wear those hats as well. So tomorrow, that sun expected to stick around. So it's not until Saturday, like we noted before, 40% chance of showers we're seeing at this point. Even for Sunday, potentially could see a little bit of wet weather. Also a note for Saturday, we are expected to feel a little bit more humid that day. So definitely want to stay hydrated for sure. Lambton, Kenton, Essex, similar conditions. Sunny sky for your Friday before a chance for a little bit of wet weather to roll in starting on Saturday. And for southern Georgian Bay, mainly sunny conditions for you, high of 26 degrees, before you could see a little bit of active weather roll in on Saturday and again on Sunday. And here's tonight's Weather Watcher picture. This one sent to us by Doug Evans of a pollen-loving bee doing what busy bees do best. The bee was also enjoying some sunshine in addition to the gardens in the backyard in Guelph here. A beautiful shot, and I don't think I've ever seen a bee just covered in pollen like that. It was quite an incredible sight, but I love to see this because this is what our bee friends should be doing.
Yes.
And we should be helping them too, right? Especially in the gardens.
We need our pollinators. We absolutely do. And great detail captured there in that photo as well.
A beautiful, beautiful shot. I saw it and I said, oh my gosh, it's just covered in pollen.
Good choice. Yeah, love that one. Okay, thanks, Alex. Well, it is being called the Alaska Summit, and it's happening tomorrow. U.S. President Trump will sit down with Russian President Vladimir Putin to try to broker a deal to end the war in Ukraine. CTV's Rachel Aiello now on what's at stake.
Final preparations are underway in Alaska at the U.S. military base where the high-stakes summit is taking place.
I want to see if I can stop the killing.
Tomorrow, U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin will sit down face-to-face. Today, Putin called Trump's efforts to stop hostilities energetic and sincere, though Trump tempered expectations about this meeting ending with a truce.
The more important meeting will be the second meeting that we're having. We're going to see what happens. And I think President Putin will make peace. I think President Zelensky will make peace. We'll see if they can get along. And if they can, it'll be great.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky won't be in Anchorage, but Trump said a second summit between the three world leaders could come soon after. Today, Zelensky met with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, and the pair emerged optimistic about the chance for peace, so long as Putin agrees to a ceasefire deal that protects Ukraine's territorial integrity.
If President Trump somehow manages to cajole that out of them, that will be the best possible outcome.
Today, Kremlin and White House officials confirmed that Trump and Putin plan to hold a joint press conference once their talks conclude. But Trump later said he could still decide to go solo if the meeting doesn't go well. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
No more working from home. Just ahead, tens of thousands of Ontario government workers are told they're next in the shift back to the office. Premier Ford has ordered tens of thousands of provincial employees back to the office. It's a big cultural shift from an arrangement that countless people became accustomed to during the pandemic. CTV's Natalie Johnson reports.
As Ontario civil servants headed into work today, many were dismayed by the directive that will see them back in the office 5 days a week, beginning in the new year.
I like going into the office, but I also really love working from home too. And there's a lot of flexibility with that. And at the end of the day, if the work is getting done, isn't that what matters?
A lot of our colleagues have to travel from outside the GTA. So it's probably quite tough for them.
I have to think about our busing situation because my kids are going to two different schools. Think about before and after, and a lot of things to think about.
This memo going out to all Ontario public service workers today. Quote, this decision is in line with an increasing number of organizations across the public and private sectors.
Everyone's more productive when they're at work, and how do you mentor someone over a phone? You can't. You got to look at them eye to eye, over the water cooler, wherever, train them, camaraderie. Plus the economy, too.
The Premier pointing to the empty path as just one example of the economic ripple effect working from home has had on the city's downtown.
I work at a restaurant down the street, so we actually like that people are coming back a little bit. More people come and getting lunches and stuff.
There's a certain benefit to going in person. There's definitely a reason why it was very helpful in the past, and it's not a bad idea necessarily to go back into it.
Ontario's public servants were first called back to the office for a minimum of 3 days a week in 2022. At that time, roughly half of them had been working remotely for much of the pandemic. The head of the AMA PCEO union, which represents some members of the Ontario Public Service, writing in a statement today that he was, quote, incensed by this morning's announcement and would fight to stop the Secretary of Cabinet from dragging Ontario's hardworking public service back to the Stone Age.
It's just time. Everyone's kind of saying it's time to get back to work. It's simple as that.
The transition to 4 days a week in the office will begin in October. 5 days a week takes effect in January.
And that was Natalie Johnson reporting. All right, back to our top story now and the potential impact of an Air Canada flight attendant strike that's left ticket holders scrambling to find options. CTV's Adrian Gobriel now on what travelers need to know.
Labor stoppage or not, you should still be able to get off the ground, according to industry watchers.
If you already have an Air Canada ticket booked and paid for, then Air Canada has to buy you a ticket.
In the case of an active strike, which is classified as outside an airline's control, large companies such as Air Canada are required by legislation to rebook customers on a new reservation for the next available flight that is operated by any carrier.
Any carrier means any airline, including but not limited to the airline's competitors.
On their website, Air Canada says customers whose flights are cancelled will be notified and they will be eligible for a full refund. Air passenger rights advocates are advising customers against accepting a reimbursement.
One important thing to remember is do not accept a refund. Refund can be a way for airlines to wash their hands from their obligations to rebook you.
If you don't have a ticket and are looking to book travel in or out of Canada over the next several days, you might be in for a shock. The cheapest round-trip ticket departing Toronto tomorrow and returning from Vancouver next Friday costs more than $1,300. The same week-long round-trip ticket leaving September 5th, returning September 12th, is going for as little as $273. It all comes down to supply and demand that influences strategic pricing by the airlines.
Last-minute ticket prices, which always tend to be higher, and a substantial sudden increase in demand that is pushing prices up due to what might be a strike at Air Canada.
Again, if your flight is canceled by Air Canada, they're obligated to purchase you another ticket to your destination. If they refuse, consumer advocates say you could purchase one yourself and flip Air Canada the bill. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
And recapping our top stories now with Leanne Evans in studio. That includes a story about some travel on the ground as well. Leanne, here in Waterloo Region, 3 roundabouts are being reworked.
Yeah, it's to try to help pedestrians cross through them more safely. The pilot program aims to protect people crossing in busy traffic. Construction is underway at roundabouts at Franklin and Bishop in Cambridge, Homer Watson and Blockline in Kitchener, Urban Iron Needles in Waterloo. A survey will be launched next month where residents will be asked to share whether they think the changes help. After many pitches and 3 rounds of voting, the region of Waterloo has appointed a new councillor. Joe Gowing secured the 8 votes needed. He and 43 other candidates put their names forward for the seat, which was left vacant after the death of Councillor Kerry Williams earlier this year. Joe has a financial background and hopes to use his voice to address housing and budget issues.
Okay, and Leanne, our digital team following a number of stories tonight as well over on our website. That includes one about a sexual assault investigation in Kitchener.
That's right. Regional police have released new video as part of this investigation. The sexual assault happened in early July around 11:30 p.m. in the area of Otto and Queen Streets. For more information on that investigation and to watch that video, scan the QR code, download the CTV News app, or go to ctvnewskitchener.ca. Tony.
Okay, Leanne Evans with a look at our top stories. Leanne, thank you for that.
Thank you.
There's a new effort to improve safety at Port Stanley's main beach. A free life jacket lending program was launched today.
It's got the neck collar, which helps keep the head out of the water, and even the handle, so if your kid's going too far, you can give him a little tug.
Beach visitors simply have to leave some ID and sign a waiver, and they can use one of the life jackets. They're located at the Central Lifeguarding Tower, and a lifeguard will help ensure it's the right fit. The life jackets were donated by the Life Saving Society of Ontario and the Elgin County Drowning Prevention Coalition. Coming up, the fascination with fascinators. We will meet an Eastern Ontario hat maker who's been keeping busy helping people don their best for the King's Plate. Canada's oldest and most prestigious thoroughbred race, the King's Plate, is taking place this weekend, and many will dress up in high fashion, including paying extra attention to what's on their heads. And a hat maker from Perth in Eastern Ontario has them covered as the event's official milliner. CTV's Peter Sperling reports.
All of these pieces are made by hand. And
Renelle LaRock looks forward to the King's Plate with anticipation and joy.
it's like our Christmas. This is the best day of the year.
The owner of Queen Bee Millinery in Perth is on her way to the prestigious horse racing event as the official milliner or hat maker for a second year.
It just fills me with joy to see people embracing hat culture, especially at the races.
Many at the event dressing up. What goes on their heads planned months in advance.
I like to get to know you and your personality. That helps inspire what I'm going to create for you. Then we think about your wardrobe and what you're wearing on the day.
Every hat is custom made by hand. They're all one of a kind, and some take as many as 40 to 60 hours to complete.
It's really about self-expression and feeling your best and putting your best foot forward.
LaRock says she's also sent pieces to the Kentucky Derby and Royal Ascot and creates hats for events like weddings and other special occasions.
So this hat I made specifically for the King's Coronation celebration that happened in Ottawa.
Visitors to her store fascinated.
We were drawn in just because it's something really different and we were curious about it.
You don't see very many milliners anywhere, and we both do creative work, so this is always something fascinating.
For LaRock, attending the event and seeing clients looking their best wearing her creations is...
It's so fulfilling and humbling and gratifying.
Peter Sperling, CTV News, Perth.
Love it. Okay, let's check in with Heather right now in the national newsroom for a look at what's coming up at 11.
Tonight, tensions soar as Air Canada planes are grounded.
It's really, again, unfortunate.
How the federal government is getting involved as the clock ticks down on a strike by flight attendants. That's later on CTV National News.
Some cloud cover for your Thursday evening. More on when that sun could return and how early tomorrow morning, and wake up weather coming up. Stick around right here on CTV tonight at 7 o'clock. It's E-Talk before several episodes of The Big Bang Theory starts at 7:30. Then at 9, The Rookie, and again at 10.
All right, our news team is watching some developing news right now. Let's check in with Leanne Evans for more. Leanne.
Yeah, Tony, we're hearing about a crash in Waterloo this hour. Police responding to the collision at Albert Street and Seagram Drive. Albert currently closed between University and Bricker. Not sure when that road will reopen. It's also unclear if there are any injuries or charges at this time. We'll continue to follow the latest developments and bring you that at 11:30. Tony.
Okay, Leanne Evans, thank you for that update from Waterloo. And Alex, our wake-up forecast, how's it looking for a Friday? The, let's see, second last Friday in August.
I know, it's crazy. August is just flying by. I can't believe how fast it's going by. But beautiful conditions to start the day off. Sunshine pretty much throughout, starting at 6 a.m., 17 degrees. Sunny conditions in store right through until about 10 o'clock, where we should be hitting around 24 degrees or so. And we shouldn't see any extreme, or feel rather any extreme humidity tomorrow. So overall, a nice day to spend it outside and officially kick off the weekend.
Not bad at all. Actually, there was something for everyone in that 7-day.
Yes, there was.
It's going to be a nice week to enjoy the end of summer.
Yes.
No,
not
the
there.
end.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Soon enough.
And finally for us, an almost 200-year-old lighthouse in Bruce County has added to its history.
This week, it welcomed a milestone 30,000th visitor, a moment celebrated by those who help maintain the structure. CTV's Scott Miller now with that story.
When Marilyn Pope came from Acton to enjoy a tour of Chantry Island near Southampton on Wednesday, she had no idea she would be making history as the 30,000th visitor to the historical site.
Surprising? I don't know. Yeah, totally shocking.
Since 2001, Southampton's Marine Heritage Society volunteers have been taking visitors from across North America to visit Chantry Island and its more than 150-year-old lighthouse. Built in 1859, the Chantry Island Lighthouse and Lighthouse Keeper's Home started falling into disrepair in the 1980s. A group of volunteers came together in the early 90s to try and restore the historical structures and bring tours to the National Historic Site. By the late 90s, restoration on the Lighthouse Keeper's Home began, and by 2001, tours to the island off the coast of Southampton began.
30,000 visitors, it is a milestone for this organization. And to think it all started with a group of people meeting at the Walker House in the 90s and saying, how can we enhance our tourism for Southampton? What can we do?
Kaufman says the entirely volunteer-run tours will continue as long as there are enough local people willing to keep it going, which with more than 200 volunteers now involved means that Chantry Island tours are here to stay.
With the 30,000 visitors that we've taken across there, that means that this boat behind us has made over 4,000 trips to that island, full of volunteers, full of paid patrons. So it is an ongoing, a great deal amount of work, but we have an enormous amount of fun doing it.
The Marine Heritage Society, they've been doing these tours for years and years now, and it's one of the best things about our community. One of the best things about Southampton is the tours to the island. Of course, the Lighthouse on the island, and getting out there and being able to climb up it and look out across the water and back at the shore.
As for the 30,000th visitor, Marilyn Pope, she's happy to have been a part of history and would recommend the 2-hour tours to everyone.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, definitely worth the boat ride and everything. I was a little nervous about the stairs, but did it, so yeah.
Near Southampton, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
30,000 people taking a look at that historic structure.
Yeah, and even the 200 volunteers, which I had no idea. I've never been there. It's been on my list to check out, but
yes,
that's very impressive.
I've seen lighthouses in other places, Cape Cod, Nova Scotia, but yeah, I was going to say 200 people. That took me by surprise as well. That's a lot of dedication to preserving a structure like that.
4,000 trips on that boat, too.
Very cool. All right, that's our time. Thanks so much for checking in with us tonight. We will be back here at 11:30, right after the CTV National News at 11. I'll be away tomorrow, so I'll see you back here on Monday. Have a good weekend and have a good night. Take care.
Take care.